To our weekly office hours. It is February 10th. I often start off with the news of the week and then see what questions we have. So if you do have any questions, just post them in the chat. We don't do the audio here just because we're recording, and so it's just easier to see the questions in text in the chat. So what's going on this week? This week was all about new models. So Opus 4.6 came out, including a version of it that's called the fast version. So everyone's been trying, Opus 4.6, Opus 4.6 fast, comparing them. And, general feedback is that it's a good model. It's just 4.5 versus 4.6. Like Opus 4.5 is like really, really amazing, like game-changing model. 4.6 to me doesn't feel fundamentally different. I think there's just a slight incremental improvement. So it is what I'm using now because I love 4.5. So, why not 4.6? And I'm kind of testing the different variants of it. And I don't have a feel yet for which one I prefer. The big thing I've seen people say about Opus 4.6 is that it is a bit of a token hog. And so even even if it's better or faster, you might see your token usage go up. So if you are paying by the token, which most people are, then you might have some debate about whether Opus 4.6 is better. So that's what you want to look at, is like, is it doing a good job? Is it costing you more money or not? And is it fast enough for you, right? And then of course we also had a new model from OpenAI, which is the GPT-5.3 model, and that is available in VS Code already. I don't know if it's available in Foundry yet. To look to see if it's in Foundry already. We usually try to ship, meaning simultaneously ship as soon as OpenAI ships something. So hopefully that's available everywhere. And then in VS Code, there's also that you can use Claude Code and Codex as agents in VS Code. So if you like Claude Code or you like OpenAI Codex, but you also like VS Code, in theory, you can get the best of both worlds, right? So that's all. When you go to, let's see, set agent, no. As you can tell, I actually don't do it myself. Okay, so we have, there we go. So this one has new chat and new Codex agent. So I don't have the Claude Code option here, maybe because I haven't enabled it. But if you wanted to use Claude Code or Codex, then you can do that from VS Code. And here you can see the model picker for the different models. So we've got some new models here. See, I don't see 5.3. Did we not? I thought we did add 5.3. It's possible I need to update. So you can always check the GitHub changelog to see what's going on. So here we can see it says GPT-5.3 Codex is now generally available for Copilot. So that should be available everywhere. And then we see Opus 4.6 and Opus 4.6 fast were both added. Okay, great. And Colthurst just added on Foundry, there's Opus 4.6, Kimmy K2.5. I heard good things about that too, and Codex 5.3. So those should all be on Foundry now as well. Let's see if I have a Foundry project open here. Let's see. Gotta find a project. Here we go. I was messing with this one. Okay. And if we go to models, deploy model, deploy base model. And here we can see GPT. So you're saying you saw 5.3? Oh, 5.2. Am I getting confused between 5. No, isn't it? So there's 5.3. So on Copilot, there's a 5.3 Codex. I don't see the 5.3 Codex on Foundry yet. Okay. So I think we're still waiting for 5.3 Codex to be on Foundry, but I also don't know how many people are looking for the Codex models on Foundry, because I think that's, the Codex models are optimized for coding models, for coding agents. So, most people are looking for it in Copilot and Codex and stuff like that. Let's see. So 4.6, you're saying is here. Yep. So we do have Opus 4.6. So that's nice. So you can deploy that from Foundry. That's great. And then you mentioned Kimmy. The Kimmy models are known to be pretty well, and they're quite fast, if I remember correctly. So there's Kimmy models as well. All right, so we've got new models to try out both for your coding agents and for your, for your generative AI applications. So try those out in your favorite place. We see also a mention of DeepSeek. Yeah, I think I actually deployed DeepSeek the other day and did a little test with it. Because we also had, this is the one I tried. There's this DeepSeek 3.2 Speciale. I'm not sure how we're supposed to pronounce it, but it looks kind of Italian to me, Speciale. So, and they claim that they did this reinforcement learning on it, that it's a high compute variant and exhibits reasoning proficiency on par with Gemini 3.0. So I was just looking at that and found that interesting. All right, what else? I also noticed in the GitHub changelog is that you can now enable memory for your GitHub Copilot, like the one that actually runs on your repos. So let me enable it actually. So we go to our personal Copilot settings, and where do we go? Features. Okay, memory. It says it's already enabled. Well, that's cool. Okay. All right. That's already enabled on at least my personal ones. And okay, and they also wrote an engineering blog post about how it works. So that's nice. I haven't read that blog post yet. I always like when we talk more about how something's actually how something is implemented. So you search recent memories, prompted memories, Agent 2, memory API. Okay, so this is generally how memory works. But this is good because I'm actually working on some slides about memory. Might do something similar here. Discord is mega buggy for you. Yeah, I'm sorry. Discord is often mega buggy. I think that's the Discord thing. So this looks like a good blog post. I think this is good to read both if you're using Copilot, but also if because I know we get lots of questions about memory. So I'm just going to pin this for me to read later. It's good to see how this is a real world agent, right? So how does this real world agent actually implement memory? Because that might be informative for how you decide to implement memory for your own agents, if you're adding memory to agents. So that's cool. And then you can also enable it through policy settings and organizer enterprise settings. So I need to make a note to check to see. This is fun. Repository settings. I want to see if any of my repositories have. So repository settings, Copilot, memory. Let's see, Copilot and memory. That's exciting. Is it enabled? Oh my God, look at this. Huh. Okay. So these are all memories that it decided to add. These are like very specific memories, which is fine. So it's got memories both from the code review. That's cool. So it's actually adding in memories from code review, because that's nice, because sometimes code review will keep on giving feedback. I'm like, no, I already told you it doesn't matter because blah 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 blah, right? So so this is a way of you could also take some of these memories and put them, incorporate them into your agents.md or into comments in the file or something like that, right? To make them even more persistent. so that other agents would have access to them too. But it's kind of fun to see what it thinks are valuable memories. And you can also delete them, right? You can be like, boop, delete, right? So that's pretty fun. Screenshot of that. Let's see. So Call Thrust installed agent memory extension by Herald into VS Code. Does that mean you have two memories? Well, this memory is for Copilot on the web. I don't believe that GitHub Copilot has memory yet. Let's see what the issue tracker says. Memory. You would think there'd be like Copilot memory info needed. Okay. Well, there's a lot. Oh, well. There's a lot of issues on memory. Copilot memory is not enabled. Okay. All right. So is there such a thing as Copilot memory? Let's ask. How to enable Copilot memory? Okay. Copilot memory is enabled at the account level. Is there memory for VS Code? And so you're saying that you enabled Herald's extensions. Let's see, memory, Copilot from Herald. Herald. Here we go. Memory tool implementation. So Herald is a PM on VS Code. So if he's got an extension for it, it's probably because he's trying it out to see how it works for VS Code. So I would assume that, once Copilot in VS Code gets memories, it would probably be similar to what Herald's done here. But let's see. Copilot 3. Yeah, I don't think that VS Code Copilot has memory yet. So I think you have memories that are being stored locally, and you have memories that are being stored by the cloud agent in your repo, but I don't think that they are sharing those memories. Yeah, let me actually ask. Well, let me just ask. Okay, let's see. Let me ask. Will VS Code be sharing the memory featured from posted Copilot in 2020? All right. I've asked. So as far as I can tell right now, if you want memories for your GitHub Copilot, then probably it makes sense to use Herald's extension here, and then wait to see for it to be, properly added. Here's the one that it's doing here. Oh, and you got a link. Okay. Yeah. So this is Copilot memory, repository specific. It's used by Copilot Coding Agent and Copilot Code Review, and by Copilot CLI, but not by VS Code, from what we can see here. So I think we just need to get VS Code on board, or it's a bit tricky because you can be using VS Code for a repo that isn't necessarily a GitHub repo, right? So I think there's probably some design decisions there to figure out how to make it work. Okay, so I see a question. You say I got Work IQ working from Copilot CLI. Is that the same MCP server usable by VS Code as an MCP server? Yeah, we should be able to add it to to VS Code as well. Let me check my, because I also got it working in my Copilot CLI. So, but let me remember. So GitHub, I got to find my MCP config. MCP config. There's like this JSON file that you do. It's okay. So it's Copilot.mcp config, and I'm just doing it in a hidden window because I do have a key in there that I don't want you to see. But okay, so work tools tool local. Okay, all right. So I'm just copying and pasting it. All right, so we should be able to add that to, let's try add new MCP server. It's going to be a command server. The command is just work IQ. Let me double check this. The command should be work IQ. Okay. We'll call this the work IQ server. And we'll put it global. Okay, commands args, and I do have as an args that we want MCP as the arg, work IQ MCP. Okay. All right, let's see. It says error. Let's try it now. All right, now it's running. Okay. So yeah, this is the way that you would add work IQ as an MCP server, whether you're adding it to Copilot CLI or to your VS Code. It's going to basically look like this. It's a standard input output server because just running commands. So you do have to have this installed locally, right? So just showing work IQ locally here. Okay, so work IQ. You can see here, you can do work IQ app, where you get like just an ask interface, or you can do work IQ MCP, which starts the MCP server. So here I can say work IQ ask, what new models did GitHub Copilot, or no, let's just ask what events are on my calendar today. So work IQ has access to your calendar, only read access. So, oh, sorry, I have to do ask-q. So it has read access to your calendar, it has read access to your email, it has read access to your Teams chats, and I think there's something else too, maybe like OneNote or something. So basically it has read access to a bunch of your Microsoft stuff. So sometimes I use it when it's basically, you would use it the same way you'd use Copilot inside Teams, where, if you just have a question about some of your work data, but it's only read access, right? So here it gave me a bunch of events, right? So that works fine. What it doesn't work as well for is, I did find generally if you're trying to search through chats, that it has it's really hard to search Teams chats, right? Like it's hard to find exactly what you want to find. I'll be like, okay, what news happened this week in AI in the generative AI channel? Also, it's really kind of sketchy to try and live stream using work IQ because it does have access to all my work data. So I'm trying to ask questions that aren't going to show anything private. But that's SharePoint. So Coulter says it also has access to SharePoint. Yeah, let me find the permissions it has. It's funny, I could use work IQ to ask because there's a doc in my Teams chat, but let me just say, find the doc about work IQ then. Okay. All right. So yeah, we were talking about the Super Bowl ad, productivity trade-offs. We're talking about that. Anthropic Claude 4.6. So actually, it did a pretty good job this time. So, and yes, that's all good. All right, and then let me find what it has permissions for. So it has permissions for Okay, it has mail, sites, online meeting transcript, people, chat, channel message, and external item. That's, at least when we looked at it, that's what it looked like it had access to. So yeah. So you can use it to access lots of stuff, but just keep in mind, it's hard to do a good job searching chats because chats are so unstructured. They can be really long. It may not do a comprehensive retrieval. So I would just say if you're using Work IQ, look out for comprehensiveness issues, like where basically not doing enough recall, where like not retrieving enough information to fully answer a question. That's the biggest issue I've seen. Also, we've definitely seen that it hallucinates that it has the ability to do write operations, and it doesn't have the ability to do write operations, right? So those are two big things. Like, how comprehensive is its retrieval? Like, I think it has low recall issues sometimes, especially with team chats. And, are you making sure you're only asking it to do things it can do and not asking it to do write operations, which it doesn't have the ability to do. So there's Work IQ. So wait, let me just check to see. Okay, what events are on my work calendar today? All right, let's see if the make sure it's enabled Work IQ server. Okay. All right, so let's see if it's going to work. Oh, okay, there is a feature for it. Okay, you're right, there is a feature for it. Okay, now this one, unfortunately, it did not figure out. Okay, use Work IQ MCP to find work events on my calendar. So this is an issue. This is a classic issue we have with MCP servers where it just didn't realize that it should use it. Now it's going to work, right? So yeah, so clearly this, even though we have this description here, so ask the question to Microsoft 365 for information on emails, meeting files, and others in 365 data. This was not, it wasn't able to, figure out that this MCP server would help answer this question. So that's, something that happens when we have MCP servers. So now we can allow that question. All right, it says I have 5 events in my work calendar today. So you can use it inside Discord, but you might find that you need to prompt it to get used. So yeah, okay. So as Dinesh says, we do have memory. There is a Boolean for it. So what we can do is enable that Boolean. Let's see, does it show up here? Memory. Okay, so you can see I didn't have it enabled. All right. So what we need to do is enable this Boolean, and then Dinesh says it adds a new tool to. Oh, and it says you can view and manage all your memories from GitHub Copilot settings. Oh, so I think then it would work. Okay. All right. So I think that things are just confused. Okay. So now we should have a new tool. All right. So let's see. Do we have a new tool here? Memory. Okay, great. So here's the new tool. Store facts about the code base that they can be called in future conversation. Okay. So now the interesting thing is, what is it going to store? Okay, so let's see. And this is, okay, now I don't know. Let me try it on a code base. Well, we did see that this one has, okay. So let's see, Azure samples. I'm trying to see. All right, let's try this one. Okay. I'll just save that. Okay. All right, so now let's make sure we have that memory feature. Okay, memory, I'm gonna click that on for this one. All right. Remember, usually if you say remember, that's a good way to trigger a memory tool. Remember that we always prefer title, the sentence case for markdown headings for this repo. All right, let's see if it's going to use the memory tool. Updating memory, yes. Okay. All right, so it says updating memory. Now we're going to go over to here. Well, oh, you know what it probably did? I'm on my own fork. I bet you it's in my own fork. Ah, ah, huh. Okay, interesting. I don't really want to store memories on my fork. So ideally, sorry, I'm just giving feedback to the product team. Ideally, I would never store memories on my fork because really I think it's like this is a shared code base with my colleagues. I'm curious what you all think. Like, where do you want the memories to be stored? Like, do you want user specific memories on your fork, or do you want the memories stored on the upstream? So yeah, I'm curious what you would want for your memories. But it's cool that at least it's already, so if you only have one, if you don't have the fork upstream situation that I have, then this should just already work. I think it's just that our docs are out of date because it's preview mode. So it just wasn't obvious that it's in VS Code. Yeah, some memories are institutional knowledge and some are private. I think that's true. That makes it really tricky, doesn't it? To try and decide. Okay, so yeah, we got some other good links here. Yeah, Harold talked about sub-agents. Harold has lots of great talks. I'm actually going to San Francisco for an in-person talk by Harold tonight. He's going to be talking about MCP apps. So that should be interesting. Yeah, whenever you're in doubt. So also, this was launched last week, but there is now this like ask question tool. I don't know if they list where it's listed under agent, maybe agent, run sub-agent, execute. Trying to find where the ask question tool is. VS Code. This one. So there's now this ask questions, and it'll actually give you like a multiple choice question that pops up. So that's really nice. I use that when planning. I don't think you can like see the past questions that popped up, but that's cool because it's there's just sometimes when it just needs a multiple choice response, which is like, okay, do you want A, B, or C, right? So it'll pop up an actual like multiple choice question with A, B, C, and then you can select it. Okay, so there's a question. Sylvester asked, could I talk about Agentic DevOps on GitHub Copilot? Okay, let's see. What would that mean? Agentic DevOps. So we're not talking about Azure DevOps, Agentic DevOps on GitHub Copilot. What do we mean by agentic DevOps, right? Do we mean like, oh, okay, let's see what Microsoft says. I guess oh, Amanda talked about it. Okay. The next evolution of okay, ideas from products, Agentic DevOps. Okay. Agent mode, new coding agent. Okay. All right. Well, this is okay. All right. I'm trying to see just exactly what it is we mean about Agentic DevOps. They optimize every bug facing small. Okay. Well, I mean, I think generally, right, like, you know, you can do a lot with the Copilot Cloud agent, right? So you'll see a lot of times I will just assign stuff to Copilot, right? So like boring stuff, right? I don't really want to work on boring things, so I'll just assign an issue. So here, there was, there was this issue here, and I just wrote it up and I assigned it to Copilot. Copilot sent the PR, and I merged the PR, right? So that's, that's something you can already be doing, is signing stuff to Copilot for little things. So you can see there's maybe like a fifth of the PRs are authored by Copilot right now, like actually in and it's done all entirely in the cloud. Rafal says you can't hear anything. Is that true? Is the audio completely gone? Or sometimes that happens just for some people on Discord. Now, the other thing is, you could get a lot fancier, right? So we have a bunch of open PRs. So I use Copilot to like analyze all our open PRs. And I said, hey, look at all the open PRs, figure out which of them are obsolete, which of them can be merged, which of them should like need like a new PR, which of them can be done in parallel. So it came up with this plan. So this was a plan that GitHub Copilot came up with in VS Code using plan mode. So, when you're in VS Code, you can do plan mode here. So here it was, here we go, right? So, no, let's see, where did I come up with the actual plan? Reviewing PRs, okay. Okay, so I said review the PRs to identify them, and then I had to turn it into a plan. Oh yeah. Okay, this is it. All right, so review the PRs. It came up with the plan. So it did use subagents. We were talking about subagents, right? So in plan mode, it does have a tendency to use subagents for research. So it used a bunch of subagents to do research and researched all the open PRs, all the CI failures, etc. Then it came up with this plan, and then I told it to file that issue as a plan on the repo itself. So I'd have it like, something I could point my colleagues to. And yes, that filed the plan. So now that I have this plan, now I can assign this to different kinds of agents. So I could use local agents, I could use background agents, I could do cloud agents, and I could use the Copilot CLI. And this plan, tries to make it clear what can be done in parallel and what has to be done in sequence. So yeah, I'm not sure, like when you were talking about agentic DevOps, is this, what sort of stuff you're looking for, but generally I am trying to use GitHub Copilot to do more of the boring things for me that I don't want to do. But it still does require a good amount of supervision and, engineer, context engineering in order to make sure it knows how to do the things. Like it needs to have access to everything. It needs to know how to run the test properly. So I think you want to invest some time into, a good agents.md and good settings and MCP servers so that it has all the information that it needs to do a good job. Oh, okay. You're experimenting. Let's see. Yeah, so there's also a plug for the AI Foundry extension. I don't remember if I have that one installed right now. Let me see. Let me check if I have it. Foundry, Microsoft Foundry. Okay. Let me enable it. All right, so this is the Microsoft Foundry extension. Here we go. So there's 2 extensions right now. I think maybe they're going to get merged because they're kind of similar, but there's the Foundry extension and then there is the AI Toolkit extension, right? And you can already see they actually look really similar, right? Like AI Toolkit has this model catalog, where you can like quickly try out models or quickly deploy them from here, so a little bit faster than going directly to Foundry. And then Foundry is very similar as well, right? So Foundry, here we have the model catalog. So yeah, maybe there'll be a version of these, we'll see. So model catalog, model playground, remote agent playground, local playground, deploy hosted agents. So they're both trying to make it easier to, to start prototyping stuff. In the AI toolkit, that's where we got evaluation and tracing and all this stuff. So yeah, if you like using the toolkit for that, then you can do that and start developing here. My colleague April does a lot of videos about these extensions, so she has some good videos about this. Okay, I see there's a question about Atlassian MCP. Yeah, I just heard about the Atlassian MCP. And I think my colleagues were gonna, because they mentioned, let's see, yeah, this I know my colleagues were just discussing this. So did this also? Let me check the MCP channel. I feel like they mentioned the Atlassian one. Let me see, Atlassian. Okay, yes, I found other folks. Okay. I'm just trying to look to see because I know my colleagues were talking about the Atlassian MCP this week, but I didn't know actually what they were, talking about exactly. Oh, I gotta figure out how to get back to our chat now. Okay. Here we go. Community calls. Okay. Let me ask in our DevRel channel. DevRel MCP. I got a question about the Atlassian MCP server. Was there ever resolution to adding that to, I think, Foundry agents, right? Okay. All right. Yeah, let me just ask on that one, Dinesh. So you keep getting 401 unauthorized. Foundry only supports static bearer token and not complete OAuth flow. It looks like there's also a discussion about this in the MCP channel in the Discord. So, so that would be a good place to follow up. Okay, so this is a good question because actually I do this a lot. So Perfect Storm says, after I assign a GitHub issue to Copilot for review and the review completes, I want to open the PR in VS Code and work through the comments with VS Code Pilot. Unfortunately, Copilot was not able to read the review comments generated. My workaround is cut paste. Yeah, that's a great question. I actually do this all the time to the point where I now have this common prompt that I'm putting in all my repos. So let me just make a gist for it. So let's see. It is review PR comments dot prompt dot md. Okay. All right. So I love this workflow. I think it's really, really nice to go line by, like, line by line, right? So here, I use the prompt here, and then it fetches the comments. Now, what you were saying is you said that it didn't find all the comments. I do see that myself sometimes too. If that happens, I just tell it, no, you're wrong. I say, no, there's definitely comments from Copilot. I haven't dug into why it's getting that outdated view of comments, but typically if I follow up and say, no, you're wrong, and I even sometimes I'll say, hey, there were comments from Copilot, or those are the old comments or something, then it's able to find them. So I haven't looked to see, next time that happens, I'll actually check and see what tool call it did, and what tool call it followed up with. But that's what I've been doing, because obviously copying and pasting is a pain. So let's see, when it worked, what did it do? It just said read pull request, but I think that was probably using, I can't tell whether it used the MCP server to read the pull request or whatnot, but yeah, so this particular time it did work. But I would say if that happens, at least try to push back on it and just say, you're wrong, there are comments, and then it might find them, because then you just get this really nice, here you can see the overview of all the comments, and then it just goes one by one. And then for each of them, I say whether I accept, iterate, or reject. And then in my prompt, I also include how to reply to inline comments, because you can't do that with the GitHub MCP server yet. It's an open issue to do inline PR comment replies. So you have to use either the API endpoint or the GitHub CLI. So yeah, try my gist out. I mean, I'm sure it's not perfect, but I'm now using this across multiple repos. And in the other repo, I actually had this thing as a skill, the how to reply to inline PRs, but here I just put it all in one prompt. So yeah, so I don't, just push back on it. I don't know why that happens sometimes, where it doesn't see the most recent comments, but I would suggest telling it to check again, and hopefully we'll can figure out why it sometimes gets outdated comments. I'm not sure. I think there just must be different ways of fetching comments, and some of them work better than others. So once we figure that out, probably that'd be a good thing to add in the prompt, so that we know the best thing. So then, okay. So comment from Dinesh, a particular use case for VS Code Copilot. So Copilot CLI already has an option to resume from a session. So the use case is open a session, make Copilot understand the workspace, and then transfer this knowledge to a different workspace. So resume a different workspace chat session in VS Code. So I mean, right now, with sessions, you can, what I like about them is you can just change the models, right? And you're like, oh, okay, I'm going to change this model instead. And you can do that in the middle of a session if you're not liking a thing, how a model is doing. I didn't think about detaching a chat session and bringing it over to another one, but you could do that, because here's one thing to point out, is that if a feature is not available in VS Code GitHub Copilot itself, there's now the Copilot SDK, right? So I've started writing skills using the GitHub Copilot SDK to make up for lack of functionality in Copilot itself. So for example, I actually use GitHub Copilot to plan summer camps for my kid. And this is because there was an article this week where someone said, this was one of the articles I had here, where is AI taking us? So in this article, someone said, yeah, AI is going to be really useful, but you still wouldn't trust it to plan your summer camps. And I was like, could I use AI to plan my summer camp? Because registration was today. So yeah, so that's what this repo does, is plan my kids' summer camp. But one of the issues was that the summer camp brochure was crazy. Look, this is a summer camp brochure, right? And so it was crazy formatting, and I needed a good way of extracting all the text from this crazy formatting with all the pictures. And I tried using just local Python packages, but it didn't work well. I really needed an LLM to do it, right? So I made a skill that uses the GitHub Copilot SDK in order to attach images to, like, so basically starts a Copilot session. Let's see. And I didn't even write this code, right? Like, I had Copilot write this code, but it works. So we start up the session, we create the session, we use a multimodal model, and we tell it like, hey, you know, here's the message, right? So we have an attachment, and then it sends it, right? So, and the reason I had to do this is because Copilot currently will totally look at images when you attach them in the chat, but if the images are in your repo, it doesn't send them as attachments. Now, I did file this as an issue on Copilot, and they've already fixed it as of today. So pretty soon I'm not going to need this skill. But the point I want to make is that now that we have the Copilot SDK, you can do some interesting things to, you know, make up for maybe lack of functionality, and to do more automation for kind of, you know, bulk Copilot tasks. So you could imagine you could actually use this Copilot SDK maybe to extract a message thread, like a session, and then start up a new session in a different repo with the same information, for example, right? Because it's just a series of, you know, everything is just a series of messages, right? So if you extract those messages, then boom. Like, that was actually an example I was just making with the agent framework. Let's see, check out context examples. Okay, so they actually do something similar with their thread example. So here with the thread example, you can create a new thread from existing messages, right? So as long as you have the messages, you get the messages, you create a thread, and then you can run a brand new agent with the thread that's actually just based off of a bunch of old messages, right? So, you know, really, like, as long as you have those chain of messages, you kind of have like you have all the context, right? So yeah, so I think you could do some really interesting stuff there. Okay, let's see. We have a few minutes left, so let's see other things I was going to share. This was an interesting article. AI doesn't reduce work; it intensifies it. Curious if people are experiencing that as well. We've got upcoming events. The Python and Agent series, that's the big thing that I'm prepping for right now, making all the content for it. So if you haven't registered for that yet, please do. That should be fun. We've got the AI tour going around different cities, Pi AI in San Francisco in March. Also going to the MVP summit in Redmond in March, if any of you are going to that. There's the MCP summit in April in New York City, and then there's PyCon in Long Beach in May. And we will also have Build at some point too, soon after that. Oh, pre-K. I haven't heard of pre-K. Oh my, and it has a cute. And wait, who's it by? J78? I don't know, G78. What is up with everybody in crabs right now? Crabs are really having a renaissance, huh? So pre-K, prek. Okay, but who is this person? Joe. Ship has sailed. Well, I think I'll give pre-K a little bit of time before. Oh, really? Wait, Ty is using it? No way. Wow. Oh, and Fast MCP is using it? Oh gosh. I did not. How am I not? Okay. All right. Well, pre-K, prek. I feel like I'm not saying it correctly. Wow, that's really interesting. I didn't realize that all those people were using it. Let me just double check that they're really for real using it, because I thought, oh, it was on November. Okay. Fully compatible. Oh, okay. It's fully compatible with pre-commit config YAML. So that's probably why I didn't notice, because I noticed Fast MCP had a pre-commit config, because they actually have a pretty cool. I think it was them that had. Oh no, Pedantic AI had a really cool pre-commit config. Let's see what theirs is. They've got a lot as well. So they're using. So that's how they do their tie check. Okay, pre-commit hugs, code spell, rough pre-commit. Okay, that's pretty similar. You know who had a lot of pre-commits though was GitHub. Sorry, not GitHub, Pydantic AI. Sorry. This one. So this has all these. This one, text hooks. Okay, it's like fixes ligatures, code spell. One of them had a lot. Well, everyone's always changing theirs. Okay, so good to know. So maybe it's time to switch everything over to prek, however we pronounce it. And then wait, Agent Framework is using it? What? Well, Agent Framework is using pre-commit, but is using prek? Let's see. Oh yeah, Agent Framework has a lot of good ones too. Good checks here. Oh yeah, you're right. They're using pre-K. What the heck? How did I'm just like upset that I've never heard of this and everybody's using it. Oh, Eduard made the change. Okay. Well, all right. Now I feel shamed into using it. Now I need to use it. Okay, and the question, what's the New York City event? The New York City event is MCP Dev Summit. In April. All right, so now I have to see, talking about agentic DevOps now, right? Now I need to programmatically make an issue that I fan out to all of my repos that will tell them all to switch to pre-K, right? And I have like this repo here that knows about my repos and can send stuff out, right? So here's like all my repos, or at least the ones I'm currently maintaining, right? So what it can do is it can programmatically assign an issue to all of those repos if they're using pre-commit right now and say, hey, you should switch over to pre-K, right? And then I get like 40 pull requests in my inbox at once, which is great. Yay. But that's like kind of the note of agentic DevOps, right? Like, because my problem is having too many repos maintained. So that's why a lot of the effort I put in is how can I use these tools in order to lessen my maintenance burden. And you know, one technique is being able to assign similar issues across many repos and assign those to GitHub Copilot to do a great job. All right, now let me just check to see if let's see. Okay, so I'm just looking for answers to the question. So they recommend for Atlassian to reach out to Liam Hampton because he has connections to Atlassian in particular. I don't know if he worked there or something. Liam Hampton is the best connection. And he's also working a lot on MCP. So that was a suggestion there. And let's see if there are any other answers. Okay. So yeah, okay. So I think those are all the answers that I got. And now we are at time. So thank you everyone for all the great comments and questions and sharing your learnings and telling me about pre-K. Does it say how to pronounce it? I'm gonna figure it out. So yeah, it's great. I will upload the recording to YouTube, and then I will you know, format the transcript nicely, and then everything will go up on the office hour thread. I just made this, wait. AIOH, oh, this is what I did, links. I think this is my action now. Okay, I just made this. Sure, you're up. Yeah, prek. prek. You have to be very careful how you pronounce that one. I think pre-K. I just think of pre-K because my kids are like pre-K. One of my kids is pre-K. So I will be uploading the recording here afterwards, and then I'll also do, have all the questions and answers in nice form here. So cool. All right, everyone. Go add pre-K and have a great week. Bye, everyone.